Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Callie with Beautifully Inspired and I'm so glad you're here. Today we are going to make our cupcake base for our soap frosting that we had purchased. Now if you haven't seen the previous video, go and watch it. I spoke about picking up I'll get it out yet. The Royalty Soaps soap frosting. Now I have tried several frosting recipes and I honestly, for what I'm doing, I didn't like it. And so I went and did some more research and found some more recipes and didn't realize, as I talked about in the previous video, that Katie from Royalty Soaps had a soap frosting and she's a soap frosting queen. So I just didn't put two and two together, unfortunately. I didn't realize she had the recipe. I knew she made them, but I didn't know she had a recipe where I could purchase it. So we purchased the recipe, got all the ingredients from it. It was about $60 total with taxes and shipping, and got it fairly quickly within a couple of days because she sent it priority mail. And so I sat down, reviewed it all, and said, okay, let's make this. And so, because as I said in the previous video, I'm trying to put something in here and it's not working. I said that I wanted to create soap cupcakes for my vendor shows and at my farmers markets, because nobody's doing it in my area, and I thought this is a perfect opportunity for me to do that. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make the base of our cupcakes, and let me show you what we're going to be using. We're going to be using these little cups, and they come apart. And you can buy a whole box of these. Let me close the box up here and I'll show you. Oops, I'll take that off. You can buy a whole box of them. I think they're 3.5 ounce mini cupcake liners with lids and spoons. Of course, you're not going to need them. And there's 100 in a pack. And I got these off of Amazon, clearly, so it was really easy to get a hold of. There's other ones that you can use. Just make sure that they can hold the soap. And that's what we're going to test today. I don't know if this is going to work for the soap or not, so we're going to give it a really good try. The soap, it's an aluminum foil type of a base, but it's also a paper product, so I'm hoping that it will work. And I've made soaps for a long time and put different things in them, but I've never tried this type of material before, so I'm kind of iffy on it, but I'm pretty sure that they should work. If not, what I'll do is I'll try and find something that's a little separate, like another type of cupcake holder, and make them and then just put them in here just to sell them, but I think they'll work. But anyway, they come with 100. They come like this. Here's the lids, and then here's one of the packages. I won't bring them both up, but there's one of the packages, and there's 100 in here, so it's quite a bit. And I think I paid like, I don't know, $17 or $20 for the whole bucket of 100 boxes, or 100 of these containers. So it was really worth the price. But, oops, I needed that open because I need to get some more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my soap recipe, and you can use any soap recipe for this. It doesn't matter. I'm having to use my base soap recipe. Actually, I recalculated it for this recipe for a reason. So the recipe is, I'm opening these up so we can get them out and on a tray. I reformulated the cupcake base to do it a little bit differently, because these will no doubt be sold as gifts. People will want them for gifts and other things, and so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to put together a basic recipe, a soap recipe, and then sell it that way. And so that's what I'm going to do. So got that open. I got the lids here, which we probably won't need for a while because we're going to do the soaps. All right, so let me grab a tray from behind me. And we're going to throw some parchment paper on. Oh, we'll just use this one. It doesn't matter. Ooh, that one's really yucked. That one was from my soap. Let's just grab some parchment paper here. I'm just using any old parchment paper you have. I'm just covering the base in case there's any spills when I go to pour it. It just makes it easier for me to clean those trays. You don't have to. You can just use a basic tray. Let me slow down a little bit here. A little dusty. And so I got these trays on Amazon. They're really perfect. I think I got like 20 of them, 10 of them or something like that for like $10. They weren't expensive at all. And I will tell you this, I did buy some other ones that I did not like, and I don't recommend. and there's the clear plastic ones. I think you can see them on the back shelf back there. Don't get those. They break really easy. I bought them and I've had them maybe 3 months and they're just completely falling apart. So I'm not going to do that. All right, so I'm just going to lay out my cupcake holders just like I normally would. And make sure I have enough, because I want to make sure I have enough. And what I'm doing here in these 500 grams is I am testing to see how many I can actually get out of that 500 recipe. And this is what I did. I just laid them quickly out. And then I'll put the rest back in the box, and we'll put that box away so that I know what what my recipe will hold. Now, that will, when I do that, it will give me the yield of how many cupcakes I can make. Now, I made the recipe even with my soap frosting. So I made, because the cups and the lids are almost the same size. So I might have a little bit of soap frosting left over when I'm done, but that's okay, because what I can do is quickly take the rest of that, because it is slow moving, mix in a little bit of fragrance oil, and then turn that into a meringue and sell the little meringues if I have any left over. If not, it doesn't matter. I'll just put it together in a little tiny soap ball and I'll just use it in my bathroom. Because I use my soaps all the time, so it's not a big deal. All right, so let's get together. Let's get going. I just realized I don't have my regular jar, so we'll do I don't know where my regular jar went. Can this fit down in there? Yes, it will, and it'll actually work out perfectly. And I should have enough for 500 grams here, so I'm just using an old mason jar. Sometimes it works out. I usually have anything glass works. All right, so let me turn this down. And let's make my soap base. Then I'm not going to give you the recipe because this is proprietary to my business, but I will show you how I do this. Oh, no, don't turn. Okay, so, all right, so there we go. I hope you guys can see this. Let's move it out of the way here. There we go. Now I can push it up a little bit, and this works perfect for me. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to use this fragrance oil from what we found. We're going to use Cupcake as our base. I know it has a little bit of vanilla in it. I'm not worried about it today because these are just testers. And I don't have my glasses on. Oh yeah, it definitely has. Okay, so we're going to use the Vanilla White Stabilizer in your soap. If you don't have this, you definitely need this. This isn't the jar that it comes in, but this is what I have. And it's just a liquid. You just put it in your soap, so that helps keep your vanilla from turning brown. And then we are going to use just a little bit of coloring just to color it for the test. We're going to use a Banana Split from Mad Micah's. It's a really bright yellow, but we're going to make it a real pale yellow to look like it's a vanilla cupcake. Then we're going to not put any sprinkles in there, but when we do the frosting, we're going to do this really pretty pink glitter. And then we're going to use Crafter's Choice just to sprinkle it on top. What is it called? Sparkle White Snow White. And I love this. If you haven't gotten this, this works really good. It's a beautiful mica. It's really small, very powdery, and it's perfect for giving that shimmer on top of stuff. So, and it's really nice to use. All right, so for now we're going to do the cupcake base. Let me get my recipe out. And like I said, I'm not going to give you the recipe because the recipe is my own recipe, and I don't want to give that out to you guys. I am putting together my Patreon page, so keep a watch for that because I'll have some recipes on there at the eventually. All right, so what we're going to do is make this, cool it all down. Actually, this soap, I might be able to just put it all together. Yeah, I can just do this as a... Okay, so we're going to change things up a little bit. I was going to make both and separate it down like I normally do for cold processed soap, but we're not going to do that. So we're going to do all in bowl. All right, so let me get my olive oil out. My castor oil. Ooh, I'm almost out of that. I get some more. And then I have my palm oil. Now I use sustainable palm oil, which is RSPO certified. So it is really certified palm oil, and I love it. And we're also going to use coconut oil in this recipe. I don't know why I did that. So if you want to try and make your own soap from those ingredients, you can. So go right ahead. All right, so let's add the palm oil in first because we got to not melt this down. All right, so we need 150 grams of palm oil. Okay, so I'm just going to start with that. that's a little much. Yep, still much. Okay, there it is. There's the 150 palm oil. Put the lid back on that to protect it. I'll snap that back in a minute. All right, so now we're going to add our coconut oil. Maybe. There it goes. And I have a huge bucket down below here that I'm using. I have this 50, I have been making so much soap that I went and bought 150, or a huge big, like, it's like a 50-pound bucket of coconut oil because I got it so good and cheap, and I ended up getting on at such a good deal that it was organic. I was like, yeah, I can't not win with that one. So it worked out really good. I was very happy with it. Okay, so we're getting up there. That is a little much. Fortunately, it's right on top and I can just break it off. All right, that works. All right, so I'm just gonna leave that in there for now. Oh, I don't have any paper towels, do I? Oh, yes, I do. One thing that's really good is keeping your hands not slick. So I always have paper towels next to me so I can wipe my hands off because it's the fastest way for me to do that. All right, so now we're going to add our castor oil. Just so you all know, I normally don't make stuff in castor oil, but I mean in mason jars, but I forgot that I did a whole bunch of soaps and put them in my dishwasher, and my dishwasher is still running. So I thought, okay, not a problem. A little bit more there. There it is. Okay, so we got the castor oil in. Now let's add our olive oil. Wipe my hands off so I don't spill the bottle because it's really heavy. Okay. Oh, crap. Okay, so that was... Alright. I didn't tear out when I did it, so it went a little weird. Okay, that works. A little more than I wanted, but that's okay. Alright, so there's our soap. Alright, so we're just going to set that aside for a minute because I got to get my lye water going here. So we're going to put this on here. We're going to make our lye water. And you always want to remember when using lye, be really, really careful. I've done this enough and that I'm super careful with what I do with my waters and my lye. And you always want to put the water in, measure it, and then put the lye in second. So when you're doing this, be very, very careful. It's... just a little bit. And then I backed it off too much. Okay, there it is. All right, so there's our lye water. And the water I'm using is distilled water. You always want to do that. I can't use the water here at the farm because our water is too full of minerals, so it makes it impossible for me to be able to do that, which is okay. All right, so we've got that put together. Now I need to get my lye, and where's my lye? Right below me. And you can get lye anywhere, so it's really easy. Let me get that to tear out since it didn't do it before. And we need that much. I always just pour my lye water in this way on my scale. It does it just fine. Okay. Make sure that's secure and tight and put away. All right, so this is going to heat up fairly quickly. We're done with that. Oh, I got to do one more thing, I got to measure out my fragrance because we're going to put the fragrance in the bottom of this. That water can sit for just a minute, it doesn't matter. Okay. All right. And there's a lot of ways that you can do the color stabilizer in your soaps. Oh, we are using, I'll just show this again. It's Cupcake. It came from Crafter's Choice, but the brand is Just Scent. But you can get, this Cupcake is their own recipe. So you'd have to buy it through Crafter's Choice wholesale design, but you can also get whatever fragrance you want. I tend to go with fragrances that don't have vanilla in it, but unfortunately I don't have any right now. So we're just going to add this in. We're going to stabilize that vanilla in there. I just shoot it carefully. Sometimes I miss the mark, sometimes I don't. And then I mix it up really good. Okay, and that just helps stabilize the vanilla in there and makes the soaps not turn brown. All right, so let's see if we can get, okay, looks like all of my previous, okay, this is a lot. I know this is lies, so we'll just reuse this one for now. Oh, be careful not to do what I just did and just very gently scrape the top. I don't know if you saw what I just did there. Don't do what I just did. That could, if that popped up, it could have burned me really bad. And this gets really hot really fast, so there it is. And we're going to do this until it is almost clear, and that's the key here, almost clear. All right, so while that's clearing itself up, I'm going to connect my thing and get this going here. And because this is really a little bit on the cloudy side, I'm going to be careful because it looks like it's got some stuff in it. And I'm going to sift through. I have a little sifter, and we're going to sift this mix because if you can see, there's some particles on the top of that, and we want to get that out of there. So we're going to mix this lye water until it's almost clear. A good thing to stir lye water with is these silicone spatulas. You can get these from Amazon. I'm not an affiliate with Amazon. That's where I got them. And they work perfectly for me. And they're really inexpensive. So if you're just starting out trying to do this, making soaps, it would be a really good place to get it. Okay, so that's almost clear. We'll put that in the jar there. I'll get those washed up. I usually have water in there. I should throw some water in there. There it goes. Throw some water in there to get those cleaned off into. Okay, so that's clear, almost clear. And this is really, really hot, so be really careful when you do this because this heats up to 200 degrees temperature. And I don't know if you can see what's left on the top there. I can't really lift it up because I don't want to hurt. I don't want you guys to get. I don't want to get hurt. So that's about what it was. We're going to set that aside. Oh, that jar's hot, and I'm going to dip that into the water right away so it doesn't get melted. And then I'm going to pick up another spatula, and we're going to get this all melted down. Now this takes a little bit of stirring to get these to melt, but they really melt pretty quickly. And I'm doing what they call a well, I call it a hot-cold process. In other words, what I do is a dump-and-go soap. I dump all my ingredients in at once, and then I add my lye water, and I melt everything down. And you can do this with any soft butter recipe you have. If you have cocoa butter, I recommend not doing this. Although I've seen people do it with cocoa butter, just it's been my experience that it takes longer. So I usually don't do cocoa butter. But mango butter, shea butter, any of the other butters work really good. I did hemp seed oil butter, and I did a few others, and they worked really, really well. So I'm going to pause this for a minute, and then I'll come back. I'm going to let this go all the way. All right, as you can see, that's pretty well melted down. There's a little chunk in there. I'm just going to let this sit for a second and let if there's any chunks, they will float up to the bottom, the top. And I just have one little one. It's not a big deal. When you get down to this point, it's all right. If you have like a little chunk or one or two left, it's okay. Just make sure you put your blender in and put that right on top of there, and then that will get that going. All right, so let's blend this up. That's pretty good. Not really worried about it. I don't see any oil slicks anywhere. All right, so let's add in this fragrance oil real quick. And when you're doing your fragrance oils, you want to make sure that it really mixes in. Because I'll tell you what, if you don't get them mixed in, you end up with streaks and it's really ugly on your soaps. So make sure you mix them really good. I'm done with this, so I'm going to take this off. It makes it easier for me to clean this up, especially when I'm like this. Okay, so this is going to thicken up pretty quickly, but I hope not too thick. Wow, this accelerated pretty quick. That's not too bad. It's pourable. That's what I want. Okay, I'm going to lay that on the side. Let's bring our soap pieces in here, and we'll get these. Looks like I'm going to be spooning this into the cups here. Yeah, this went really quick. This is like a vanilla pudding, which is what I don't want for my soaps. I'm not going to worry about it being unlevel or anything, because when I cover it up with this top, it'll be just fine. So we're just going to go with that, and I don't like this spatula, so we're going to get off of this spatula. It's feeling really weird in my hands. Okay, there we go. This is better. Let me pick this up. Now this is still fairly warm, so I need to get these into this mold fairly quickly, because I can tell it's already starting to saponify, which is a good thing. That's what you want. But because this accelerated a little bit on the faster side than I was hoping. And just be aware that the different fragrances that you use can accelerate your soaps, so just be really, really careful. Now this one is performing really well, so I'm not too concerned about it, but it is getting it to the point where I almost can't get it out of the jar. So, and I have to be able to get this to mold and drop down in. See, it's still moldable, so it's okay. But it's down at the bottom, it's almost really hard to get out. But here again, see, it's moldable, so I can push it in there if I want to. A little more of that in there. Okay, so it looks like I may have room for one more. We'll see. We'll see. And these cupcake papers are working absolutely perfect for me, so that works really good. I'm just going to smooth these out a little bit. I definitely need some more in there. Let's see if I can get the rest of this out. Yep. Okay, so note to self, next time I use cupcake, I will be reminded that it is a very fast accelerating soap, and so I'll need to be careful with it. Now I'm getting this all over my hands, but it doesn't matter. Once the lye goes into the butters, it really doesn't matter. Goal is can I get it out enough to be able to do what I want it to do. Okay, so that one's like butter. I mean, I'm really sitting here trying to struggle to get this buttered in, and that's okay. It happens. My hands are clean. I washed my hands before I came in here, so these are all nice and clean. But I highly recommend wearing gloves if you can. Okay, so I have a little bit left over, so which means I can spread this out. This is almost the perfect recipe. Let's see if I can spread these a little bit more. Put a little bit more in each one. This one looks like it's a little low. So ideally what I would want is a little bit more pourable recipe, because it would be easier to get this done. And ideally we would be doing that. So I basically have, just top that on. It can be a little bit on the top too, because once I put the frosting on, it'll be a little different. So we'll just pop that on there. Okay, so that's pretty much what it is. Let me get towel to wipe my hands off. So my hands are pretty bad. All right, so that gave me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 7 cupcakes, which is a good yield. And then I will clean up the around the sides once it gets going there. Ugh, my hands are wet. I don't have a wet. Oh yes, I do have a wet towel. Well, kind of have a semi-wet towel. All right, I usually keep a wet towel in my room, and it went dry on me this morning, so we'll get that there. So there you go. So we have 7 cupcakes. What we'll do is we'll let these harden up, and then when they're done, we will frost the top of these tomorrow. So that's pretty cool. I'm really happy with that. And the fragrance in here is amazing. Ideally, I'd have 2 cameras, one on there and one on me, but today I don't have my second camera. My second camera broke down on me, so you got to get a new one. So anyway, so there you have it. There are our cupcake soaps. I'm going to clean them up a little bit with some washcloth and get them in there. It looks like these papers are going to work really good. So I just have to get them cleaned up and looking really shiny and pretty. And then we will put the frosting on, and then we'll put the lids on, and I'll show you the finished product of that. So there you go. There's the first part of that. These will take 24 hours to set up. You can frost them right away. It doesn't really matter. Once you get them in there, you can turn around and do your frosting really quick. But your frosting does take a little bit, depending on your recipe. With the Katie's recipe, hers have to set up, or they have to cool down, and then I put them together and work them that way. I don't fragrance them, so I won't be fragrancing the tops, but the base is here. And that's what you have right there. So 500 grams of whatever soap recipe you are making makes between 7 and 8. I probably could have gotten 8 out of here had I worked at it a little bit and this hadn't frozen up on me so hard, or seized up is what they call it. But it's still a pliable soap, and it works. It's working out really well. They look great. But I'll frost them. We'll put them in there, and then you can do that. So now you guys know that you can go to bottom of that's weird. You can get those soap, these at Amazon. You can get, and then they come with the lids. You can even put the little spoon in there for the customer and let them know this is just a novelty. So it's up to you. And then what I like about these cupcakes things is, I'm not going to unravel it, but well, here, let me find another. This one, these can unroll, and they can open up and go flat, so you can pull the soaps out of these easier. Some of them you'll have to pop out, or they'll shrink down so you can pull them out. I like these because they're more secure, and they'll be better for traveling to and from my vendor shows and my oh, I forgot to put the coloring in, but that's okay. It's a natural color. Cupcake is a natural color, but that's fine. I don't care about it. The fun of filming soap, let me tell you. So anyway, so there you have it. These are nice. These are going to work out really good. So thank you so much for joining me. I will come back to you tomorrow and we'll make that frosting. Oh, clean up. Yeah. I think the reason why that happened is I mixed it too much. Gotta watch that. Especially in these mason jars. I may not want to do this in the mason jars again. That may have been my problem. But that's okay. Let me clean up. And I can always make this recipe again and we can give it a good try. Yeah, I think that's what I need to do. Not do it in these mason jars. Although maybe making it in the mason jars may have been... I'll have to try it again. So, part of the creative process. Alright, we're going to let those sit. And we'll see what happens. That was fun. Good morning, everybody. This is Callie with Beautifully Inspired, and we are ready to finish off our soap frosting. I'm going to make that, or start the process of making it. But then I also want to do really quickly, well, maybe I'll do that in another video because we have a whole bunch going on. So let's get started with our soap frosting. Now, when you get your order or your stuff from Katie, she gives you a whole bunch of stuff in the kit, and I've already gone over everything that's in that kit. But you do have to formulate your own formula from the formula that she gives you. And so she'll give you the percentages of the ingredients that she uses in there, but then you have to go in and work out the volume of what you have, the volume of the amount of soap that you need to make, which is really easy. If you use soapcalc.com and you really know how to make soap, then you should have no problem with the process. It's actually very, very easy. So I definitely don't recommend this for new beginners. You really do have to know what you're doing in order to work with her recipe. So just a little tip on that one. So, but I wanted to show you the soaps that we came out with. Here's the soaps. They turned out really good. I'm not going to tip it too low. And I'm really happy with them. So I'll do a little bit of cleanup here and knock off some of the end stuff and clean up the edges because some of them got a little bit, dirty. So we'll clean those up for my customers. And then we will frost these up. Now, just to let you guys know, the reason why I did not frost these last night when we made them is because I want these to harden up. I found that if you don't leave these open, they don't solidify fast enough for what I'm doing. So I let them sit overnight, and then what we'll do is we'll spritz the top of these with alcohol. 99% you want pure alcohol. And then that will remove anything on there. If there's any soda ash on here at all, which if your recipe's right, you shouldn't have any, then you can, you'll clean that off with a gentle washcloth. You just want to very gently rub that off. And then spritz it again with alcohol to get anything off of here. So I looked at these this morning. There is no, surprisingly, usually I do have a little bit of soda ash, but there's no soda ash on any of these. So these are actually really ready to go, outside the fact that I got to clean them up because of the, solidifying so hard. So I decided last night after I went to bed that I was going to pull out Katie's kit and use the glitters that are in there for the new soap. So I'm going to do a boys. I'll probably do, I sell more to girls than I do boys. So I'll do probably 3 boys and 4 girls soaps, and I'll show you how to do that. So we'll do 2 different designs on the tops there. So and I'm just using a really nice glitter, a really small one. We are out in the country, so we have to be careful of septic systems. So I don't want to do the big chunky type. This is about the largest I want to use, which is kind of, I don't know if you can see this. It's really fine. I'll put that up there. See how fine that is. That is what you want to use on your soap stuff, on your soaps. You can also do something like what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do embeds and stuff on there to make them really cool. You can also pipe on flowers. There's just a whole bunch of stuff that you could do. And maybe what I'll do is I'll do up a bunch of them and then set up some stuff to where I can decorate different things and show you some different ways you can decorate your cakes. So that'll be really fun to do. All right, so let me turn the camera down and let's start making our frosting. Now, I'm not going to give you the exact recipe that I use because it is proprietary to our store and it is also proprietary to Katie, and I don't want to violate any disclosures that she may have or any of her information, because I want to be respectful of Katie. She does make money off of this, and this is part of her income, and I don't want to take that away from her. So I am not going to give you that recipe. If you want the recipe, go to Royalty Soaps and get her soap frosting kit. It's about $60 with shipping and handling and taxes, depending on where you live. It might be a little less or more. But it's well worth the $60 because you do get a lot of stuff in that kit, and it's honestly, the value of the kit is higher than what she actually charges you. So it's very well worth the kit. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to turn the camera down, get a couple things set up here, and we're going to come right back. All right, I'm back. So let's turn the camera down and let me show you the frosting. I'm trying to be a little bit quiet because my husband is sleeping. He works graveyards now, so he's sleeping in the other room. So I'm kind of trying to keep things quiet for him so he can continue to sleep. And my puppies are playing out in the other room. So there we go. So let me turn this down for you guys so we can see what we're doing here. All right, so I'm going to move my phone out of the way here so we don't get damaged. And we are going to start with the butter recipe. This camera is doing some weird stuff. Hold on a second. Let me loosen it back up again. There we go. That's a little better. Camera's doing weird things this morning, but that's okay. All right, so let's go ahead and make the frosting base itself, and then we'll talk about some other things here. So the frosting base is up to you. Well, the frosting base is specific to Katie, so make sure that you grab her recipe and create the recipe that you need for her stuff. This is, you do have to measure everything out separately. So I'm going to measure out the oils first into this pot because we're going to pour the hot oils in here because it'll cool down, and then we'll do the butters. So let's do the oils first and get that out of the way. Everything has to cool down to an even temperature when you're making her frosting, so just be aware of that, and you really do have to follow her recipe exact, so definitely do that. Okay. And in truth, she's been doing this a long time, so she knows what she's doing. Okay, so let's do olive oil is in. I'll give you the ingredients, but I'm not going to give you the measurements. Ooh, if I can pull this out. Okay, so in my recipe, we have olive oil. And I will tell you this, you do have to be exact on your measurements, so don't go over or under on anything. Make sure your measurements are exact. See, like that one, I just went over a little bit. I'm going to pull my spoon out, and we're going to pour that right back in. I'm sure after making this a few times, I could probably fudge a little bit here and there, but I'm not going to take a chance. This is the first time using my recipe, so we're going to make sure we do this the right way. Okay, there it is. Just a little bit over. Get that poured in there. Okay, put that on the side. So we have oatmeal. Okay, and I'm not going to give you, there's one ingredient in here. I'm going to give you I think this is really what makes her soap so good. Let's see if I can take that glue off. Maybe not. Not going to happen. I'll do it later. Okay, so this next one, oh, that went to 20. Okay, I'm not going to worry about it. Clear out. There it goes. Oh, there it is. Okay, so let's do the next ingredient. And here again, when you're not putting your ingredients together, take that green cover off. It's interfering with me dumping my stuff in there. Okay, there we go. Take that top off because that is really interfering. Okay, so there's that ingredient, and now we're going to add our last ingredient. Now I do highly recommend when making any soap recipe, it doesn't matter what it is. I've just been doing this for as many years and I know how to pour and I know how my stuff pours out, so I can kind of gauge it a little bit. But you definitely want to pour everything into separate containers and then combine them, making sure that you scrape off all of the ingredient out of the bowl and then combine them. It just makes it much easier when you're beginning. I know I certainly did that, and then I got used to doing it this way, and I knew what my I knew how to learn. I learned how to pour my ingredients, so that's why I do it that way. Okay, so that is our liquid ingredient. So we're going to set this aside because we're not going to heat this up. I'm going to let that just sit. Okay. And I think for now, so I have room, I'm going to put my cupcakes since they're all ready to go on the shelf here. Alright, we're just going to let those sit on the shelf. And I need a paper towel because my hands are a little on the slick side. Ugh. Put that right there so I've got access to it. Alright, so now let's put our hard oils in this one because this is what we're going to melt. And my pot is not ready to go. Let me go get that ready to go here. My pen is behind the camera, so I'm going to move my cord out of the way because I don't want it to get hurt. And everything out of this way. I don't need that. And we're going to turn this water on. Get it warmed up because we're going to put this right in there so it can start heating up. Alright, so let's clear this out and let me add the next ingredient. Now we're going to do our hard butters. And I'm using coconut oil and palm oil. That's what she uses in all of her soaps and stuff, and it's a standard in mine. But just be aware that if you're using palm oil, you want to make sure it's the RSPO level, and that it is responsibly sourced. If it's not, you don't know where that coconut or the palm oil is coming from, and it can be dangerous. So these plants are very respectfully grown, and they were respectfully harvested for the earth, and they are very, oh, that's coconut, and they are very much monitored, so to make sure that in the cosmetic industry that they're safe for cosmetic use. So definitely make sure you get the RSP, well, I can't remember what they call it. It's RSPO, I think, is the name of it. There we go. Okay, so there's the coconut oil. Let me grab my palm oil, which I'm not sure what I did with it. Oh, it's right here on the floor. And after I did the soaps last night, I did some more, so I was really, really busy doing stuff yesterday. Alright, so let's add our RSPO, maybe. I don't know if you saw that or not, but that spoon was way down in there. Okay, so and then now we're going to add the palm oil. Oops, that's a little bit too much. There it goes. Make sure it stays. All right, I'm just going to lay that in there. I know it'll be slick, but I can, oh, it's still not wanting to do that. There it goes. There we go. Now we have it. All right. And one thing I've noticed that I do a lot of soaping, so it really doesn't matter, but make sure you cover your butters and everything back up when you're done, because it does keep your ingredients from becoming rancid. Okay, so I'm going to take this and put this in the back of the thing here and get this warming up. Need to pour a little bit more water in there. Alright, so we're going to get this one heated up really good and get that melted. I'll turn the camera around so that you can see that in a minute. I'm just going to get it going. I'll see some of it melting down. Okay, so now let's work on our lye water, because the lye water and your oils and everything have to be all at room temperature, and you want to make sure that that is the case. This recipe, like I said, is very, very specific. So let me grab a little bit of water out of my big container here. Move all this stuff out of the way here. You can't see it, but I have a whole bunch of projects lined up, ready to go. And I also have a big bucket of water sitting here that, because I don't have a sink in my room, unfortunately. Okay, so let me turn this a little bit. There we go. That water is starting to heat up. Let's go with our measurement of our water and lye solutions. Now, I'm hoping I have this right. So, okay. Alright, and then let's put our lye in. Now this you do have to be exact here again. So you want to be really careful when you're pouring your stuff. I usually have this in smaller containers, but my big bucket has gotten light enough that I can lift this up. I'm going to, I don't want to go over my measurement here. Okay, so we're going to stop there. Alright, so my lye solution is ready to go. Alright, so let's get rid of my scale because I don't need it for anything anymore. We're done there. Now, one thing you want to do is make sure that you stay back. You don't want to inhale the fumes. And I've been doing this a long time, so I do know what I'm doing, but in truth, you do want to really be careful with this lye water, and I do recommend wearing PPE or personal protection equipment when you're first starting out, actually all the time, but I have learned how to be extremely careful over the years doing different crafts, and so I'm probably overly protective sometimes. Alright, we're just going to let this melt, and you want this to be clear. And then what I do is, just because this gets over 200 degrees, is I do put it on a hot pad in my room, just to be on the safe side. Although I'm on a wood table, so it would work. You can melt this in plastic containers as long as they have a value on the bottom of 5. And I don't know if I can show you this or not. There's a little triangle. I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's a little triangle at the bottom of all of the containers, and it has a value between 1 and 5 or more. It can go up to, I think, 12 or 14. I can't remember, but you want to have one that's above 5. Any plastic container above 5 is safe for heat, especially lye water heat, so you can do that. I actually like to make mine in mason jars and just let it sit, but I don't have my small mason jars right now, so we're just kind of ignoring it. Alright, so this looks pretty good. The cloudiness is starting to go away. You don't have to sit here and stir it. You can just actually let it go. And so we'll let that cool down. Alright, so all of these are pretty much above. Okay, so the temperature of my lye water is 175. So we're going to let this cool down to room temperature, whatever your room temperature is. My room temperature is about 74 degrees, but you can temp up to no more than 80 degrees, I believe she said in there. So bring everything down to the lowest temperature you possibly can, even down to 74 degrees. I found that soaping at that, actually 74 to 75 degrees seems to be the perfect temperature for my soaps. And so I make sure that I temp down to that. All right, so we're going to put this aside. We're going to bring this in and let it sit. We're going to let the butters melt. Let me turn the camera around and let you see the melting. Let me see if I can angle this up. So this is behind against my wall. I have a little heater there, which is kind of convenient. I have two hots because usually I make 2 bars of soap usually at a time when I'm making soap. And so this is going to get hot enough and we're going to melt those down. It looks like they're already starting, which is good. And then give that a little bit of a stir. Yeah, it's melting just perfectly. So we're just let this sit for a few minutes and let this melt. And then when it's all melted, we'll combine our 2 oils. Alright, so while we're waiting, let's get some equipment set up for our cake decorating. And it's really easy to do. When you get your kit, you'll get the bag. You'll get your tip. We're going to use this tip. This is the multi thing. It looks really kind of cool. I think the kids will like that. And then you get your coupler for your thing. So let's turn the camera down and I'll show you how to set these up because it's really easy. I've been doing cake decorating for a really long time, so this makes it really easy to do. Alright, so first thing you want to do is take your bag and you want to put this all the way down inside your bag as far as you possibly can. Actually what I do is I do this one first because this one's going to go on the outside. So I just shove this down, shove. And once I get this coupler in here, I'm not going to be taking the coupler out necessarily. Okay, so that seems to be in there fairly well, so let me back it off just a little bit. Where'd my scissors go? I brought them over. And you're going to cut right to that edge. Oh, these scissors don't want to cut. Maybe it might be the plastic. Okay, typically you want a smooth cut, not a jagged cut like I just did. But that's okay. Doesn't matter. It's all going to come out the same anyway. Okay, and then you put your coupler on top. So I don't know if you saw that. So you put your coupler inside, the one that has the thread, and then you put the tip, you cut the edge. I back it off a little bit and then cut it because you really want to have it just below the edge here. It makes it much easier. But I don't have a pair of scissors that will work. I'll redo this one is what I'll do. And then you put the tip on and then you tie it down. And typically you tie it down fairly tight. Turn that up a little bit. So that this doesn't all come loose is all. Okay. And it might take a little bit. And then what I do is I have another cup, another measuring cup, and I just pop this in the tip. Because what's going to happen is when you put your frosting in here, the stuff's going to leak out. That is not on right. Hold on a second. It's going to leak into here is what's going to happen. Let me adjust this really fast. And you want to make sure that you have a place where it can, there it goes. You want to have a place where it can actually go to. There we go, that feels better. That's nice and locked in. Yeah, make sure your tip is nice and locked in so you don't have any issues. So you want to put that in there. And then if you have a cup that maybe is like this and is small enough, you could actually wrap this down around the cup. It actually does work better. But I typically just push it down. You can even roll it. I've rolled it around. And then you open it up really, really wide. And you want to bring it down as far as you possibly can to fill this up, this tip. I usually go just a little bit above, and then as you fill, you just basically pull this up, and then I will show you how we actually fill that when we're ready to do that. So I'm just going to let this sit for a little bit, and we've got that all prepped up. I've got my colors here, and then I've got the little bit of the light shimmer. I'm going to add this one onto the girls because it's really pretty. So this one we're going to do is called, it's from Crafter's Choice. It's my absolute favorite sparkle. It's Sparkle White Snow. And it's just beautiful on soaps. It really brings out the shine. I don't know if you saw the rose soap that I just did, but we did that. And then we have the glitter, pink glitter for the girls, and we have the blue mica for the boys. Now the blue mica is a little bit harder to do on the tops. So what I like to do is get a makeup brush, which I unfortunately don't have. And you take the makeup brush and you just tap it. But I don't have my mica. I don't know where it went. I'll have to go find it. I'll go find it later. But then I'll tap the blue on top of there. So those are what we're going to do. So we're going to do girl and boy, and the boys will love that. That's going to look really nice on there. And it's not a glitter. It's going to, what will happen is we're going to do like a top of the, put it right over the top. Okay, so my butters are melted. Let me get this off. Okay, so what we're going to do, this is really, really hot. I am actually going to take the mic, this off. If I can hold on to that, that's really hot. Let's switch this around here for you. We move these out of the way right now because we're not ready for those, and I don't want to knock stuff over here. Alright, so I'm going to wrap this around because it's hard to pick up. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, these are the hot butters. They're all melted, ready to go. There they are. I don't know if you can see that. And we're going to pour that right into the cold butters. And what we want to do is we're going to let all this settle down and cool down to 74 degrees or below 80 degrees for sure. If you do it any hot, your frosting is going to seize up faster than what you want it. And you definitely want it to be easy to work with. Okay, there you go. Alright, so I'm going to give that a good stir, make sure it's all mixed in. There we go. Now, we're not adding fragrance, we're not adding color, we're just doing, let me put that in there so I can get that washed. We're just going to do a very basic frosting, and I'm not even going to color it. I should probably color it white, and I can do that. We'll get some titanium dioxide to whiten it up really good and give it that nice little white frosting there. I'll go make some up here. Alright, so let's do that. I'll put that in there. Drip that there. Alright, so we're going to let these cool down to 74 degrees. Right now we're temping at 109. Yeah, we're temping at 109. So we have a little bit to go. It'll probably take about an hour to 2 hours to cool down, but we'll go ahead and we'll do that, and then we'll come back. All right, I just temped our oils and butters, and they are at 74 degrees. So we are good to go. I'm going to move this out of the way so we can get that done. Put that in its holder. Well, maybe not. All right, we'll leave it there. All right, so let's turn the camera down, and I'll show you what we're going to do here. Push this in here so you can see it. Alright, so we have our titanium dioxide ready to go. So we can whiten this up. And we have our colors and stuff ready to go too. Let me bring those forward. You can't see what I'm doing. I'm just bringing them into the camera. Alright, so here we are. Let's get this done. Still trying to work on a new camera. Alright, so first of all, let's get this made. And remember, this is not being fragranced. Now, if you're going to fragrance your soap frosting, you really do have to be careful with the fragrance that you put in there. Katie actually recommends not putting the scent in here, and I am in agreement with her. So definitely don't do that. This is nice and clear, so I don't have to... So we just want to bring it to emulsification or saponification, just barely mixed. Now I'm going to put in whitening. Put that up here for a second. I'm going to scrape that down so we get all the goodness out of it. Oh, I forgot to grab a spatula. All right. Put that aside. All right, that looks good. Let's scrape this off. Now remember, I'm following Katie's recipe as best I can. And this is not pipeable yet, so this has to sit for just a little bit to allow it to set. And that's okay, that's what we want. So now this should thicken up pretty well. It can take about 10 to 15 minutes for it to thicken up, so don't lose patience with it, just let it do it. But I have to tell you, in making my own soap frosting from just my basic recipe that I normally do to this recipe that she has in her technique, I actually like this better. The soap is super smooth, which is going to give you a better piping consistency. So I definitely recommend her recipe. It's giving me peaks. Almost there. It wants to slide back down. So, I mean, it's really close. And when you're piping, you want this smooth consistency. You want it to be really not stiff, but you definitely don't want it to slide back down. And we're just about there. Just a little bit harder. I think the more I get some air in here, the better it looks. I love playing with this frosting. As a girl, I absolutely loved frosting. It was one of those things that I absolutely had fun with, and I love to frost cakes and do all kinds of stuff like that. I think we're good. Okay, so let's put this in our, now I'm doing white today, but you can certainly color this. I could have colored half of this blue and the other half white, and it's not a problem. And all you're going to do is you're going to take scoops and scoop it in. Yeah, now it's ready to go. I can feel it. It's the consistency of frosting. If you've ever felt frosting, you understand the feel of it. I'm just going to pipe it all in here. Now, one thing I will say about this recipe is if you have too much, you can always back down on the recipe. This made a lot of frosting, and I only made 500 grams of it. But I think I could probably go with half that because of what I'm doing. Oh yeah, that's perfect. All right, so let's see what we can do here on these cupcakes. So I'm just going to do one here. Ooh. Okay, now I have to be careful the top. So I'm just going to play around here. I can always take this off. Yeah, it's too tall. So we're going to go plop. Let that come off. And that's okay. You know what? It does not matter. I just go a little bit shorter. And I put the cap on, see if it'll work. Yep, it'll work. I don't want to disturb it because it looks really good there. Okay, right in the center, and I'm just going to go push it out, push it out, push it out, and then we're going to go up and up and up. one might be a little bit too tall. Now you can also leave these uncapped. You don't have to cap them with the cupcake caps. I like to do that so customers can take them home. Just makes it convenient for them. Okay, so this recipe actually does work. This is a good set of recipes. All right. More. All right, and so we're going to fill some more up here. And I'm just going to fill this in my hand because it's easiest, because this is what I'm used to doing. Just put it on this side. And what I'm going to do with the leftovers, I'm going to get a parchment paper, and I'm just going to spoon the rest of this out and make some little meringue soaps. But I definitely could go, for the frosting tops, I could go 250. Half my recipe. Let me stick that in there for a minute because I have to scrape this down. And I'll get all that in there too. All right. And I like to make sure that I have no waste in any of my soaps. Pop that in there for a minute because I had some left in this. And I definitely have way too much frosting. So what I can do, I don't know what the hold yield on this is. And what I mean for that is how long will it stay soft before I have to pipe it on. And I actually have enough. I could do a second set of soaps. Oh, I had some air in it. There. All right, so there you have it. There are those soaps. They should be fine top-wise. All right, so let me get my hands wiped off. I usually have a white towel in here, but I don't today. All right, so we're going to sprinkle on here. I should do this over. Those are going to be so pretty. The girls are going to love these. Okay. These are just beautiful. A little bit more on because that one didn't look like it was. We're going to have to figure out what to do with that one. Okay, so there's the pink ones with glitter all over my hands. Okay, so let's do the blue ones for the boys. And this is mica, so it works a little bit differently. Not as spread out. Oh, hey, that works. Okay, so I recommend definitely the technique if you're going to use the mica directly to use the to definitely use the other. Okay, so boys, I'm not going to put glitter on, but there's the 3 boys. And now I'm going to take on, this one's pretty sparkly, but I'm just going to put a little bit of the white sparkle on this one. Just a little bit. Get that out of the way there, because this is so pretty. And this will just give it a little bit of a really glossy highlight there. Okay, so there you go. So there are our 3 soaps. And I will let these tops sit now for 24 hours. It's still pipeable. And I think what I'm going to do is take a parchment paper and make some make up some meringues, and I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a second. So there's those. Aren't those gorgeous? And I am going to switch to a different mica coloring and wash my hands. Alright, so here's what we're going to do with the rest of that. Since I have so many of these cups, I'm just going to lay a bunch of these out. And we're just going to make some meringue cups, and then we'll just decorate some tops. Because this is soap. So you can definitely do that. And then we can do some really different colors. Now, this is an unscented soap, just remember, because there's no way to scent it now. But we can definitely do that. Okay, so let's just do this. Maybe. Ooh. Okay, so this does not have a hold because I am really struggling to push this out. Okay, so this does hold up pretty well and very quick because I can't even pipe this out of the bag. It's so stiff and hard. Okay, so this isn't going to work. All right, so let's do, because I don't want to waste this soap. So let's see if I can find something I can put that into. All right, so we'll just throw this into some round molds. That's a little bit on the disappointing side. I was really hoping I'd be able to pipe this out. And it looks like I can. I just have to really use a lot of force. Because this went hard really fast. Okay. All right, so that's what I could do. Not the prettiest in the world, but we'll just throw some glitter on there. And what I'll do is I'll just, I don't know, I'll probably just give these away at the shop, at the show. All right, so there you go. That's one thing you can do if you're fast enough, is to use up the rest of that frosting. Now see, I still have quite a bit in the bags here, but there's no way I can get out. It is that stiff. So you do have to be quick with this recipe, and when it's ready to pipe, you pipe. There's just no getting around it. So those are kind of some yucky ones. But they'll harden up. They'll be like really stiff, hard soaps. So we'll just bring those over there, and hopefully you can see both of them now. Yeah, you can. So there you have it. There is our cupcakes that we're going to release. Definitely haven't piped in a while, so whoops. So I'll have to, and you have to be careful not to do that. But that was the first time making these in a really, well, making soap cupcakes. I've made cupcakes for a really long time throughout my life. So that's the way we're going to make them. And these lids should fit on just fine, although I can't put them on now, but we'll put them on later. And you'll let these sit for 24 to 48 hours. I recommend at least 2 days to let them really harden up really hard, especially the soap underneath. And then I'll clean them up, and then we'll put the lids on them, and then they will go into my bucket to go sell. and then we will get to processing the rest of them. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let me put one of these up because these are really, really pretty. Here's the, isn't that gorgeous? And those are really pretty. I'm really happy. And here's the blue boy one. Not the best for the first time, but you know what? That's okay. I'll probably sell these for like a discount since this was my first run with them. And then from now on, I know what I'm doing. I know how I'm doing it. And then I will just get a little bit better on that. So there you have it. That is Katie's Royalty Soaps soap frosting. I absolutely love the recipe. It is a really good recipe, but you do have to use it immediately. It will not sit. So make sure that you have the right amount. Now, like I said, I calculated 7 soaps at the 500 grams. I will knock this other recipe down by half and make the half recipe for the topping. So now that I got my ratios figured out and what I'm doing, it's really easy for me to make that adjustment. Now, I could go ahead and make these meringues because I know the meringues would sell, and I could scent them with the normal scents without. I would do the meringue, I would do the frosting without scent no matter what, and then I can do some really pretty soaps that are unscented that kids would love. So, you know, you could do it that way too. There's a lot of different ways you can do these. Yeah, it's really up to your imagination. And I will try and do another video on soap frosting and show you how to do the leaves and the flowers and stuff, because I have piped for many years. And it's actually not hard to do. It just takes practice to do it. So, all right, there you have it. One more look at these beautiful cupcakes. There you go. These will be going in the shop this weekend. I will probably do another set tomorrow and just do a whole flow of the whole thing now that I've figured out my process. And so there you have it. My rating for Katie and the soap frosting is a 2 thumbs up. Absolutely, it's the best frosting that I've used. I've made my own frosting before, but I wanted to try her recipe, and she's got it bang on. It's perfect. So definitely go get it. And as far as her customer service is concerned, it needs a little bit of work. They will not answer your questions if you have one unless you join there's a Royalty Club website or something that you have to join. So just be aware of that if you have questions, don't ask them. They will not answer you. And it's not Katie, so don't take this against Katie. Katie's awesome, and I absolutely love her site, and you know, she's got this right on. So this isn't a negative on her specifically, but it's a negative on the company. So just be aware that their customer service is not the best. So anyway, thank you so much. I absolutely love this. Thank you for sticking with me. Well, if you have any questions, please feel free to comment down below. If you have questions, ask. I'm more than happy to help you. And my review on this is definitely, it's a at a 1 out of 10, it's a 10 plus. It's a really good recipe. But now what I'm going to do is go back and make the recipe again and a couple of more times and get it down to where I'm just doing it normally, and it will be absolutely perfectly fine for me. So there you go. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification button, and don't forget to leave a comment or a question if you have one. Thanks.